Hi, I'm Justin Zimmerman. I'm an Aquarium Supervisor here at SeaWorld Orlando. I've worked here at SeaWorld for about 20 years and loved every minute of it. I'm one of the coral aquarium enthusiasts, and I'm also a coral hobbyist at home. Here at Manta, which I'm standing in front of right now, we have one 12,000 gallon coral reef exhibit. It's built back in 2009. It's been doing very well for us. It's starting to fill in nicely. I would say probably 90% of the coral in the exhibit was acquired through aquaculture. We received a lot of the coral through Oceans Reef's Aquariums aquaculture facility out on the coast. We did receive some from Worldwide Corals, and we also received some that were confiscated by the state government. In the past, we've gotten some corals from you guys at Worldwide Corals, and we really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, it's true.
The corals have done amazing here, so we're gonna show Victor the corals, and let me raise the lights up so we can take a look.
Yeah, it's been many years, let's do it.
Awesome. And what we're doing now is we're powering the boat lift, which is gonna raise the whole light array. We have 12,000 watt metal halides on this light.
Wow.
What do you think, Vic?
Unbelievable, it's just so overgrown. Look at the colors, look how rich, look at how peaceful all the fish are. I mean, look, you're seeing multiple cobra bands getting along with no issue. I love it.
That's the beauty of having 12,000 gallons of salt water.
Incredible, look at those big power heads. What kind of power heads are those, Justin?
That's an Aquaflow, an Abyss Aquaflow Cannon 400, and we put those in last year. We actually really like them. They provide a lot more flow than the closed loop pumps we had before. We're actually looking at getting a couple more. We're hoping in the future we'll get two more.
I cannot believe it. Incredible, simply incredible. And this is a survival of the greatest, huh?
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of competition in there. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go in and thin it out like we need to. Those are 1,000 watt metal halides. We use Hamilton 14K lamps.
Okay.
They're becoming harder and harder to find as time goes on. It's getting more difficult to find the lamps that go inside the metal halides.
So what's the game plan? To buy a bunch of them and store them?
We have done that in the past. We get a very good deal from Hamilton on the lights, but in the future, we're thinking about moving on to the max spec 500 watt lamps, LED fixtures.
Yes.
The LEDs wouldn't only save us more money, they're actually a little bit more powerful. So we're looking at going at the versatility of the max spec 500 watt LED lamps. The issue we're worried about right now is this array, this lighting array, really wasn't designed for the weight of the LED drivers and the weight of the light. So right now, these light fixtures are very light, and the ballasts are actually located above our head. So if we hook LEDs up all over this, it would actually add too much weight to the array. So we're kind of working through that right now.
How about the shape of the aquarium?
The shape of the aquarium? Actually, the aquarium, maybe it's 9 feet deep. The dimensions are 9 feet deep, 9 feet front to back, and 18 feet wide. So it's pretty much the same ratio as a 120 glass aquarium.
Yeah, and it's a major scale.
Which on a huge scale though. So what I think I would have done is make it a little bit deeper front to back. I think that front to back depth would decrease the slope of the wall, so you'd have more space for corals to grow. I think that would have made a big difference. That's something you don't really anticipate though when you're building the tank this big. You think 9 feet front to back, that'll be enough
it's plenty, yeah, and you realize it's not.
But then you realize your slope is a little bit too great, and when a coral grows in the top, it ends up shading the corals right below it, which can, you're gonna have a dead spot, a spot that's not gonna grow.
There's barely any room in the floor for you to even stand, so are you suspended? Are you floating? It's not easy.
The divers, we have a suction cup method. We have a suction cup that connects us to the wall. So we use the suction cup on the acrylic.
To hang on.
And that will allow us, to clean the glass. We try, unless we're fragging the coral, we try not to touch the coral at all.
How about fish? Do you ever introduce new fish anymore?
If this was up to me, though, I think it could use a lot more anthias. I'm looking in there right now, and I think if we put a school of about 50 anthias in there,
funny you say that. We're working on the same thing in our 1,500 gallon at the store.
Yep.
In our baby 1,500 gallon tank.
We find that the Leartail anthias are like bulletproof. They seem to do the best in a tank this big.
Yes.
There's a lot of competition, but the Leartail anthias do very well in a big tank like this.
So when you introduce new fish, do you notice a change on behavior? The hierarchy, does it change?
Oh, definitely, yeah. You'll notice that the smaller, newer fish, have to work their way into the system and build up confidence as they come out. A lot of times you won't see them for the first week. I mean, you'll think they've disappeared, you think they're gone, and then one at a time, in the morning, you'll start seeing them coming out of the rock. So,
I see.
Yeah, it's a scary time for the little fish to go in here, but they do go through a quarantine, probably like your facility, all the fish we get.
Yeah.
They go through a 30-day quarantine. So during that quarantine, we kind of build up their confidence with the food we're giving them. So we give them similar food. We build up their strength. We give them a lot of healthy food, build up their body condition. So when they do go in, they can go.
Look at their colors.
These guys get fed twice a day. We use a lot of PE mysis, krill called P krill, Pacifica krill, brine shrimp, a little bit of nori. This is a collaboration of myself. There's 4 or 5 other aquarists to take care of this. An aquarium like this is a round-the-clock job. So it's really impossible for one person to take care of this. Between diving, water chemistry, water changes, changing light bulbs.
Yes.
It's not only even aquarists. We have electricians on call that come in and take care of this aquarium. We have plumbers on call that take care of the water that gets to the aquarium. We have
chemistry department.
A chemistry department. We have a veterinarian department. It's really important that we're all diversified and we all have you kind of have a little mini role in a bigger production.
We're looking at the fractionators here, the protein skimmers. Justin, tell us a little bit about these things.
These are 2 RK2 fractionators, foam fractionators that we use for our big 12,000 gallon reef tank. They've been running now for about 10 years. We like them. They do a great job. They remove most of the organics from the water. They're highly optimized. Every day we come in, we set the water level and the air level to the right ratio to make the best foam that we can here. We have an air gauge, an air intake gauge, so we can control the cubic feet per minute of air going into the system. We also have inflow and outflow for the amount of water that goes through the fractionator and the dwell time. Okay, Vic, this is our calcium reactor, and it supplies most of the alkalinity and calcium for our 12,000 gallon reef tank. This particular calcium reactor is a Charan. It's been working for us, German, yeah, it's been working for us for about 12 years. It's been extremely reliable, and it holds about at least, I would say 250 to 300 pounds of media. It holds a lot of media in there. We do have to change that media out. It gets low about every 3 or 4 months. So
that's not bad.
We melt down
for the size of the tank.
For a big fractionator or calcium reactor like that. It's not too bad. It does do a great job. We do use the Carib Sea ARM media in there. Yes. We like it. It's the coarse and extra coarse. We'll mix it. And then we have a 50-pound CO2 bottle that we use to supply the CO2 for this.
Okay.
And a controller. But this is really the heart and the blood of our system, constantly providing that alkalinity and calcium, and a little bit of magnesium and strontium too, back to the coral tank.
And you guys are dosing kalkwasser as well, right?
We do those kalkwasser as well, correct.
So between kalkwasser and this, you guys are able to keep up with the calcium and alkalinity?
Pretty much. Every now and then what happens is, every now and then there'll be a little discrepancy where one of the calcium or alkalinity gets out of balance, and then we use some dry additives. We'll use like calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, or just sodium bicarbonate to bring them back into range. These are 2 5-horsepower return pumps. They're made by Fibrock. The one on the left is the one we're using right now. The one on the right is our backup. So that's returning water from the sump here. You see the big blue? It's about a 1,000-gallon sump. There is a sight glass on the side which lets us know how much water is in that sump. You can see the sight glass in the black line right below the tape. That's the water. That's the level of the water inside that sump. And then what Victor is sitting on right here, we have an entire pallet. This is it's probably about 30 boxes right now of Instant Ocean, and that's what we use for all the reef tanks here at SeaWorld.
How long you guys been using this salt?
We've been using Instant Ocean as long as I've been here, so at least 20 years now at SeaWorld. It's pretty easy for us to use. It dissolves well, and it's done a great job with our corals. It's also with all the invertebrates like the octopus, sea dragons, some of the more delicate animals. We're pretty much used consistently and in Instant Ocean exclusively. These are 3,000 gallons. These are 3,000 gallon chambers. Yep.
I thought my 1,500 gallon barrel was big.
We've got 2 of them. They're actually placed in here before the building was built. They're so big that they weren't moved in. The building was built around these.
Wow. So to get them out, you have to break them.
Correct. So we have an RO unit back against the wall. Let me show you this. Come back here.
Come on.
So right here we have a high pressure RO unit, dual membrane. This makes around 5,000 gallons of salt water per day.
5,000 you said?
Around 5,000, yeah. Between 5,000 and 6,000 gallons of salt water a day.
And this feeds the whole aquarium side?
And this feeds everything that we have, like the invertebrates, everything that goes into those barrels. All of our Instant Ocean is mixed with RO water. So yes, it feeds the majority, the vast majority of everything we do. So the dual membranes, and what it does is it feeds to that RO chamber over there, and then we add the salt water. We add the salt mix, the Instant Ocean bags.
Got you.
We also use, behind you, we use our RO water for kalkwasser. So this is the top-off water for the reef. This is about a 50-gallon barrel, and this is to replace the evaporation in our 12,000-gallon reef. So we add 50 gallons of water, a couple scoops of kalkwasser, and that's what our top-off water is. That's the water to replace evaporation that fills every day, and it gets emptied. through a standard dosing pump.
So what, like 2 of these per day you go through?
What's that?
How many of these per day you go through?
We go through 1 per day. So
one per day?
So tomorrow morning we come in, it'll be down low, we'll fill it up to the top, add the kalkwasser, stir it, and then throughout the day and night it doses. And then tomorrow it'll be empty again.
Gotcha, cool.
Yep.
Interesting, I love
and
it.
That helps with pH. It also helps add calcium alkalinity, but not nearly as much as the calcium reactor. The calcium reactor is definitely the workhorse when it
What
comes
about
to
the RO unit? How often you have to replace filters?
Wow, it's actually only been like 2 or 3 times in the last 10 years since we've been open. We've had to replace the filters. The filters last an amazing long time. They are expensive. They're a few $100s a piece, but when you look at the lifespan of 2 or 3 years,
yeah,
and then each
incredible.
one can produce 2,500 gallons a day. That's it's more economical than your smaller filters that are on your home aquarium.
Wow.
So Vic, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, this is just incredible. I'm out of words, man. I think you need to do a little trimming in here. How do you even?
Yeah,
It's the battle of the fittest here, guys. These corals are literally swallowing each other up. I mean, look at this turbine area right here. The digitata, the Montipora digitata, is coming now in the middle of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Meanwhile, this lettuce coral, this pavona right here, you can see how it's just sitting there. This Achalis, the good old school mummy eye. I mean, guys, there's no space for corals. I mean, this is the little area that recently they worked on just to create room for the corals. But if you see, it's just a forest, it's a field. It's just a gigantic field of corals.
What do you think of the big lamellosa down here at the bottom? That's probably the next thing that's going to come.
The thing's got to be, I want to say, just by looking, it's about, I want to say 36 inches by about 30 inches wide, maybe even more. It's massive. It's pretty massive. It's incredible. I mean, you got layers and layers of corals. I mean, there's mushrooms and what looks like a rock, it's no longer rock. It's just, you guys are really
There's some
going
places with the acropora, when you start cutting into it, was about 2 feet deep.
Yes.
So the acropora skeletons, you'll start removing skeleton and it gets down about 2 feet before you hit live rock. So a lot of this wall, when this was new, it was further back. It actually has grown physically out of the rock.
I see it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Kudos to you guys and the whole team here at SeaWorld. For those of you guys that are into the hobby, if you ever got the chance to come to Orlando, Florida, make it a point to stop by to SeaWorld. Come by the roller coaster area, Manta, by the aquarium area, and come see this tank. It's open pretty much 7 days a week, and it's just incredible. All right, guys, that's a wrap up. We just left SeaWorld. We're so impressed with what we saw, the 12,000 gallon reef. Justin and crew, is incredible what they're doing. They invite us back in a couple of weeks down the road to come see their 1,500 gallon reef tank. We're looking forward to that. We'll be putting a video on that, so be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. We'll see you soon.